Hello and welcome to Broll Redux. How's it going, David?
Hey, good morning. I thought I was gonna. What do I say? What do I say? How are you?
I am doing good. I am doing good. And we got a different episode today. Today
Right.
we're talking television, and with the movie industry and movies coming out, they're becoming less and less frequent for one, and also the quality has been dipping. So we've been entering in the age of binging shows since COVID. So we're gonna give you a couple of options that you may have seen or you definitely need to check out for sure. You
Right.
know,
Right.
and you want to start us off?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we'll do one of my two favorite shows, Seinfeld and 30 Rock. Yeah. So, matter of fact, I've been binging Seinfeld since I guess it went off the air on and off. It's one of those shows that you can just keep in the background and listen to. I like it because it's a glimpse into his real world and the characters, and the backstory of his backstory. It's really interesting. The creation of the stories, Larry David and Seinfeld. I love it. It just my big thing now with watching Seinfeld is the plot holes. All the plot holes that are just like hello. Do you not have? I mean, was it 19? What was it? 1991? I can't remember when it started.
It was definitely the 90s when it started. Yeah.
In the 90s. I mean, there's not that many cell phones, but as they progress through the years, no one had a cell phone. Like, what is wrong with these people? You're a comedian. You should have a cell phone. But it's a great show, and people that don't watch it are missing so much. And I think it's one of those ones that it was a really good show. And I
And if
realized that
if I remember properly, the whole premise of the show is a show about nothing,
a
right?
show about nothing. It literally is. It's just uh, one of the episodes where they pitch it, and I guess it was probably the real pitch. I mean, they would know it was a show about nothing. This is your day, and that's a show. And it's like, and you think about it, it's really a brilliant idea because so much does go on in your life that it is funny, it is humorous, that it's probably happened to other people, and it is a show about nothing, and it really worked. It really worked.
Well, for a sitcom, I think that works perfectly because in a sitcom, you always want your characters to kind of like not change. You always want them to be reset back to zero. So even though they might have some form of journey or some form of growth that seems in an episode, well, they're funny because they are who they are.
Mhm.
And if you start changing the character and who they are, they might stop being funny.
Exactly.
So it's like in a sitcom, you always have to have that reset to, okay, did he learn a lesson? He learned a lesson, but does it change him to his core? No, because you need him back to being whoever he was, whatever flaws they have, they need to maintain, right?
Right back to one for the next day, right? And I guess you kind of hope that there's going to be some kind of growth, like, hello, just like are you really that antisocial or just germophobic? But he really was. I mean, I'm sure this is his real life, and it's a great show. I mean, and the humor and I think the casting is just spot on with the casting. George Costanza, Jason Alexander. I think he is that neurotic in real life, probably. Michael Kramer. Oh, Michael, what's his name? Kramer, what's his name? Michael
Man,
Richards.
yeah, Michael
Yeah,
Richardson,
Michael Richards and Elaine. She's really funny. I mean, she's a great actress. She's
Julie
really Julie
Dreyfus,
Dreyfus.
Julie Louise Dreyfus. Yeah.
Yeah, she's really good. I like her in everything she's in. She's really good. And I was watching on TikTok. They have a Seinfeld channel. They're talking about how they just threw her into the episode. She just appeared like out of nowhere, and then they gave her the whole backstory. Jerry's girlfriend and stuff, and they just kind of just they needed that fourth person. They just threw somebody in there, and it worked. It really
And they
worked. And
they also need like the female perspective.
right,
Yeah.
right. And there's an episode where they need to add Elaine when they're doing the pilot episode. They don't know how to write for a woman, so they just leave her out. And she gets mad. It's and it's again it's probably really true how that happened when they're sitting around writing. Elaine enters like, what did she say? Oh, we got too many people in the room. It's like, just leave her out. And it's it's really funny, and just I think it provides a social commentary. You know, the and Newman and all these supporting cast members. But I'm just thinking, uh, what's his name from Everyone Loves Raymond, the brother. He plays the mechanic, and the Putty. I was just thinking, Putty plays the mechanic, but they never. He just Putty just appears too as Elaine's boyfriend,
Yeah.
but he's Jerry's. It's a good show. I highly recommend the show. It's on my phone right, right before we started. I just had to turn it off, get it just on in the background, and it gives you something to listen to where you can just kind of just follow along. Now, what about yours? Do you have a favorite show? Which one of yours?
Um, I don't think they're my favorite. Well, this one might be one of my favorite shows. It's a good sci-fi. It's good modern sci-fi. I always appreciate good sci-fi. And last episode we talked about a classic sci-fi from
Right.
'68. You know, but this one was definitely more modern. It's called The Expanse. It
Not
started off on the Sci-Fi Channel. Then they tried to cancel it, but Amazon saw its value and Amazon picked it up and finished off the series. It was based on several books that were written by two guys that originally wrote the story to be the story for a video game, back late '90s, early 2000s, but the video game never came out. So they decided to take their notes and their story ideas and create books. And then sci-fi eventually picked it up. And it deals with, a lot of modern situations, about like human, colonialism, classism. It all takes place in our solar system. So it isn't kind of like expansive like um Star Trek or something or Star Wars where you're in a galaxy far, far away, or you're traveling from one end of the galaxy to another or multiple galaxies. It's like we are literally kind of stuck from like the asteroid belt to Earth, or to the sun, So the physics are very Newtonian physics of flying, so it's very realistic to what we can accomplish in a couple hundred years.
right.
Um, it, we're not like dogfighting in space, like or anything else. It's like everything is slow moving. It's almost like more like naval battling stuff that happens in there. And like I said, it deals with very topical areas where there's three factions, Earth that's run by the UN, you have Mars that's kind of run by their military, and then you have like the Belters, people who from generations and generations have lived nowhere else but space.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
now their bodies have changed, and the bone structures are less dense, so they can't take the gravity wells of Earth, anymore. They would just get crushed.
Hmm.
You have Mars, who was part of the Earth at one time because Earth was colonizing Mars, but then you have that kind of taxation and frustrations, kind of like how the U.S. had for Britain, where it's like, hey, we're doing all of our stuff. Why are we getting and sending everything to Earth, right? So,
Right.
they make a decision to stop their terraforming and put all their money into the military, and they seceded from Earth. Now you have the Belters kind of wanting that same thing. They're mining ice and stuff, and they're sending all these resources and metals that they're getting in the asteroid belt. They're sending it all to Earth, so they want to build their own nation. And while all this political intrigue is going on, you have this very more sci-fi events happen. Discovering of a proto molecule that's very foreign and alien from our solar system. And then you have these corporations that are trying to, figure out the next step of human evolution with this, alien molecule. And then, crazy things are happening. And you have like this small group of individuals who are stuck in the middle, trying to figure out this mystery while also navigating basically these three factions going to war, or priming for war. And it's very interesting. Like I said, it deals with a lot of things that, we are very known to be looking at today, colonialization and classism, you can even say racism. Like I said, there's factions, and it's more like, if anything, they're racist towards those factions. Even
Right.
though everyone is diverse, everyone is everywhere, it's a melting pot everywhere.
Mhm.
Um, but you get that those beats that you can understand those stories, and it's very relevant.
Mhm.
And it, like I said, it just so good and so refreshing. I really enjoy the way that they handle space, where we're not going a whole bunch of other places. Eventually, we do go to like a different solar system, only with the help of like alien tech, you know. But even then, when you do that, they're reinforcing that colonialization aspect, where it's like, okay, who has claim to those planets and resources that they
Right.
start landing on? And it's like, who gets there first, and then who's working and doing all the hard work, and then very, very interesting. Like I said, it's got good mystery to it, and good overall topical, very, very topical, beats and narratives that, everyone can actually, it's those universal kind of themes that, it doesn't matter where you're from, you can actually understand.
Right. Interesting. Is it still in production now?
No, they actually wrapped the show up. I mean,
Okay.
there was only, I think, 5 or 6 books, and they do really keep really close to the books. I've only read the first one, and the first book basically is the first season,
Okay.
and it's basically 80%, accurate to the book.
Mhm.
There's some things that have to change because one of the lead actress, who's in the group of, the crew, she's from the belt. So in the book, she's, like a lot of the belters who are very elongated, very tall, longer joints, because, you've lived in
In space.
space,
Right.
in zero G. So in generations and generations, your body and your anatomy has changed. But, that would have cost a lot of money to,
Oh, yeah.
to make a character like that. So, I mean, making changes like that, very small. It's like, yeah, I can forget that, But all the actors did a really good job. I think the biggest actor that they had was, Thomas Jane, who was in maybe 50% of all the series.
Hmm.
Um, but good mystery, good good topical areas. Corporations are usually the bad guys.
Right.
Good very deep kind of like cultural blending, because like Mars, they sent a whole bunch of engineers. So Mars was basically made up with like people from India, I think like Sweden, various parts, and I think even people from Texas went to Mars. So it's like you can tell that when you have the Martians, it's like, well, yeah, you had like, some people that are like, or Indian actors, but they have Texan accents, so they have like this blending pot, and they kind of build like these own little cultures. And the belters, they speak their own way, and they have their own little slang, very interesting. If you like
Sounds like
sci-fi, you definitely like it. I believe it's on Amazon right now.
it. I'll check it out. Good,
So
good. Yeah.
what's your second one that you enjoy?
Uh, 30 Rock. 30 Rock. Tina Fey and Alec Baldwin and what's his name? Tracy Morgan. It's one of my favorite shows. They took it off well we lost Hulu because we changed phone services, so I can't watch it. But yeah,
And
I
that
have it.
would be NBC, right?
NBC, yeah,
So
NBC,
it
yeah.
would probably be on Peacock then.
Peacock, yeah. It's like $30 a month. That's expensive. So, but yeah, 30 Rock. It was I when I first started watching it, deals with behind the scenes of a TV show, and it's really good show. I mean, the humor and the you know I like it. I don't know why I like it so much, other than it's easy to follow, and that I like Alec Baldwin. Uh, Love
And
him
this
or hate him.
basically kind of restarted his career, right?
Right, right. And love him or hate him, he's a really good actor. I mean, he's just in the it's a funny show. All the characters, I mean, great character development. Like we talked about Tucker Lindale meet Evil. What is it? Cherie's in it. It's like just the ensemble cast of characters they have really make the show, and it kind of helps us as a creatives to kind of think about stuff and see what they really go through to make these shows, and the humor and the living in New York. It's just a funny show. Yeah.
And it was made by what, Lauren Michaels and Tina
Lauren
Fey?
Michaels, yeah, Lauren May of Saturday Night Live. Yeah. And I guess well, I don't know if it started. I don't know if it started as a skit like most of those shows do, but yeah, just one of
I'm
those.
thinking it might have been created, you know, I think Tina Fey was one of the main people that were behind the creation. And then
Oh yeah,
Lauren
yeah,
Michaels, of course, came on just because it was about kind of like her
yeah.
experiences
Experiences,
from
right,
SNL, right?
right, right, right. Yeah, just one of those shows you can put on and just kind of you know listen to. Uh, I think I just kind of stumbled across it. But it's one of those shows where have to watch it for. Takes you a while to get warmed up to it, though. I like it. I like the characters, all the different characters and the things they go through, and like I said, not having they go through a journey there slow because you know that's going to go to an end. All shows do end, but like I said, they all and I never really thought about it. You said they kind of go back to zero every time and start over again, and just like another well, you got your character arc in 34 or was it 24 minutes. You have to go through so much, and I was thinking when I'm watching Seinfeld, like, how do they fit all this? I mean, because it's a lot that they do in this 34 minutes, but it's just the writing. The writing is just tremendous writing. I started watching West Wing, and one of Aaron Sorkin. He's a really good writer. And, it just the writing has to be really spot on to make these shows work. It just I credit to the writers and to be able to create these characters and have real depth.
Well, that's what
Uh,
Tina Fey, I believe, did on SNL majorly. Yeah, she was in the skits and she acted in the skits, but she was one of the main writers for the show when the show was actually really popular and really successful. So,
right, right. Yeah, Saturday Night Live's always been one of those mainstays in American media. I remember watching it as a kid. And a lot of successful people came out of Saturday Night Live, and Adam Sandler and all those people. But it's just a fun show. I really don't know why I like it, other than I like it. It's kind of hard to. I like the humor, and it's just one of those shows I like. Yeah.
any favorite episode?
No, not. I mean, just I really can't. I mean, if I really thought about it, no, no, I can't think
They're
of
all
it.
good. All
Yeah, they're all
right, that's acceptable. That's
just
acceptable.
kind of just. I like have it on the background, and I'm working. I don't know if I told you, but I'm going to do stand up. I use these shows as fodder for jokes and stuff. So that's my ultimate goal is to maybe that's why I watch these shows and like them because they're giving me ideas on how to, timing, comedic timing and stuff. But I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I just want to do it. Uh, but I really like comedic television, sitcoms and stuff. What's that show? I always see myself in that movie. What's that movie? Uh, Tarantino's movie, Pulp Fiction.
Oh,
The little boy in front of the TV and stuff, how he just kind of loses himself in TV. That's kind of the way I get with these TV. I just kind of involve myself in these shows and just really. Sometimes I feel like I'm like these people are not real, right? But it's just kind of fun. Just kind of lose myself in these TV shows.
and
And
that's what TV and movies and stories are supposed to be. They're a form of escapism,
right, it's
and
escapism.
when you have shows that really aren't dealing with activism and stuff like that, everyone can kind of like delve deep into it, right?
Right. Just
Like I
kind
said,
of
you can just leave it in the background and you can just like listen all day, right?
just kind of pick up right where they are. Yeah. And yeah, sometimes I usually I fall asleep watching it, then I wake up like, holy smokes, how many episodes did I miss? Then just go right back. But yes, Seinfeld and 30 Rock are probably my. I'm sure I have more if I thought about it, but those were nice because you can. It's just good, really good writing. I mean, that's what it is. It's really good writing, and so those are two of my shows. But I want to watch the one you're talking about. It sounds really interesting. The
Yeah, Expanse, very good, very, very interesting,
right,
really good characters. And my second one is probably more mainstream. You've probably seen it, a lot of people have seen it, but it's been so while ago. There's a whole generations, a couple generations that haven't seen it. Lost.
right,
It's probably on Hulu right now because it's an ABC product. And Lost is just a really good character drama. Of course, it's got sci-fi elements in it, but the sci-fi elements were designed to be driving like this mystery that made the watcher basically going, what just happened? Let me go to the internet and go to like forums and start chatting with people and people coming up with conspiracy theories or theories that what's going on, and this extracurricular engagement that it had was unique for the time.
it
And
was yeah, it was a talked about thing, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah,
that and what's that show with about the hospital with George Clooney?
ER.
Yeah, that's about the same time, wasn't it?
ER was before, for sure.
And
ER was like 90s.
my sister bought me the
But it
DVD.
did start, Lost did start that kind of like, talk about the episode. You think about like The Walking Dead,
Right,
they
right,
actually had shows called The Talking Dead or whatever,
right,
right?
right, 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 right.
But
And just
Lost, like I said, it's good ensemble cast. It had like dozens of characters in there, and they all grow over the course of the story.
right,
They all, through the use of flashbacks, we find, who they were before they crash land on this island, and we see how they grow by the time that by it ended, right? And then, the little sci-fi elements that drive the mystery of what else is going on this island, what happened to them, what caused the plane crash, the importance of this island and stuff like that. Like I said, it is just a tool to get engagement. The focus really is like, hey, if you want to study good characters, watch Lost.
interesting. Yeah,
And how to handle so many characters. You talked about 30 Rock and how they had, you know, dozen of characters, but like I said, they get all reset to one, so they are who they are. It's like
right.
Lost has dozens of characters and they all have to grow. They all have their own story. And then they all have like these intertwined storylines between each other. Very good. Now is the time that it might actually be better to watch it. The when you were watching it back in the day, you had to wait a week, for each episode to come out. Then you had to wait a year for more episodes to come out, and then time and time passes. By the time it wraps its story up, most people are like, not satisfied, right? All this time and effort over 5 years or 6 years, it's
Right,
like, oh, it didn't make a payoff for 6 years of
right,
energy, you
right.
know.
They can watch it in a week. Like, okay, I'm done. Okay. I'm glad I didn't wait. I'm glad I waited right.
Well, nowadays you're not kind of like restricted to that. So now if you watch it, it's like you might there's probably more of this appreciation where it's like, hey, you don't get let down by them because you didn't have to wait for so long, right?
Right.
You take a look at it and it's like, okay, it tells a story. It finished its story up. How can we say if that's good or bad?
Hmm.
Like at least they finished it. So
Right.
many shows, just get canceled, and they leave the show off a cliffhanger off of like a season, right? And you never
Right.
get any closure at all.
Yeah.
And Lost, you get closure. Was it the
Right.
closure that you wanted? No, nothing usually is,
Right.
right? But like I said, the characters are what make this and it drives it. They have good chemistry between basically everybody. It's multi-international, diverse cast. Sometimes you're dealing with subtitles because you're in South Korea or you're in India or somewhere else.
Flashback.
Yeah, through flashbacks. And just the little sci-fi elements I enjoy. I enjoy sci-fi. I enjoy mystery. It has a very good kind of easy to comprehend, sci-fi. Nothing too crazy, nothing too illogical. Everything was well thought of. A lot of things with numbers, too. It's like, hey, if that's a good thing to get people talking about. People love to see like numbers and patterns and stuff like that, and you start looking and looking, it's like, what seat number were they in? What seat number were this person in? And you see a number on the screen. It's like, what does that number mean? Write that one down and put it in the sequence and try to find these patterns and stuff. And just so intricate, but also easy to follow along, which gets you to engage with people.
Right. Who was the writer? Who wrote it?
Maybe like Clouseau or something like that, or Damon Lindelof or something.
That's a
I know it was produced by J.J. Abrams. This
okay.
was pre-Star Wars. So
Right.
when J.J. Abrams was like, the new hot thing in sci-fi and had all these good ideas, it's like this is what he produced. And um it really worked. Like I said, me personally, I like the ending. No, I thought it was all right, you know. But like I said, most TV shows, especially back then, it's like they never got an ending.
Right. Never done. It just stopped. Yeah.
They just stopped and it's like, okay, you just gotta think of something your own.
Right. 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 That's why I was talking about that with My Name is Earl. It just stopped. Like, where are we? Where is everybody? They're still talking about today. What happened? Well, the end of the Sopranos. It's like
Yeah.
leave them wanting more, but like, what the heck? Kind of.
All right,
I
let's
invested
take a quick little break and then we'll finish up our final thoughts and maybe give
okay.
a few other choices to watch. All right, we are back and we've been
You're
talking about TV
you're back.
shows. We've given you four good options where you can really delve deep or even just shut off your brain and just enjoy the ride,
Right.
right?
I'm gonna start watching Lost. My sister bought me the DVD series, and I think I traded it in on a cell phone case. I don't know. It just didn't appeal to me. Uh, I don't know. This is oh my God, this was 20 years ago now, right?
Yeah, I mean, like
It's
maybe
been a while.
2004 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, so it had to be after it was over because it was the. She goes, "Did you watch it?" So
Yeah,
yeah, I enjoyed it.
2004.
Like, oh, what the hell? What the hell is this? I just can't. I guess I'm doing the same thing now, binge watching. But this the thought about having DVDs, I have to put them in a tray and sit there and watch it, or I can't watch it while I eat my hamburger. That I think that's really changed TV. I mean, everyone's viewing habits, with streaming and stuff, where you can, we sit down at dinner sometimes and everyone's got a phone and watching a different TV show. It's just really crazy how it's changed our viewing habits and
Well, I
what we
remember when watching it in DVD, like you said, you had to like, put it in a disc and you fit like, especially in an hour show,
right,
or 42 minutes or whatever, because you don't get commercials on DVD.
right,
You fit maybe four episodes on a
right,
disc. So it basically kind of like scheduled it yourself. You
right,
have a DVD in there. And as soon as that DVD, it's like, oh, you've reached the end of the episodes, pop in the next one. It's like, yeah, it's time to go to bed or something like
right.
that. Like
It,
you
it
know
can't,
that not wanting to go in and put the next DVD in. It's like, okay, that it makes you kind of like stop, right?
right, right, right. When it's good because it makes you more disciplined and go to bed without falling asleep with your phone on. And why is my pillow so hot? Because your phone's on. It just it's a good, bad, and the ugly of the way we live now. It's just, just tough.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a binge consuming, when it comes to TV, and when something doesn't come out like all that time, and some of the streaming services, do that where it's like, oh, we're only going to release one episode this week. It's like,
Yeah,
why? That's defeats the whole purpose. I know why. You're trying to get, as much time,
right,
hey, this got eight episodes. That's 2 months of subscription time, if it
right.
comes out every week. But that's not how people deal with streaming nowadays. People
No,
basically will like, I'll wait until you release all 8 episodes, then
right.
I'll subscribe, watch everything, check out anything else you got on there, then I'll subscribe for that month. So they're
Yeah,
not getting more time, I don't think.
right. Yeah,
Um,
just what's their ulterior motive? And that's what, Netflix came in at a time where it needed it, but I think it really, I don't want to pick on Netflix, but it really kind of destroyed how we, I don't know. There's good, again, the good, bad, and the ugly of everything.
I
Uh,
rather binge. Like I said, I think it's easier to get involved with watching it with other people as well,
right,
and getting people interested into a show where it's like they don't have all the time in the world to wait every week, or their work schedules aren't consistent,
right.
so they might miss an episode and then it's like, oh man, now I gotta wait 2 weeks instead
Yeah,
of where it's like, hey, in a weekend, boom, you can watch all 6 episodes of Squid Game or 8 episodes of Squid Game, in 1 or 2 days or in a weekend, right?
yeah. I was
So
wondering if it's
there's good and
maybe
bad for it.
right, right, right. It's maybe leading to the demise of family gathering around the TV and the campfire, watching the one episode, discussing it instead of everybody in four corners of the room watching their own stuff. So just kind of Orwellian thinking I have. What's the ultimate goal of this, other than just sit down and enjoy the movie and shut up? But I do enjoy just having the access and the. I mean, there's so many options out there. Eric has turned me on to watching Korean dramas and on Netflix. They're kind of hard to follow because the pacing is a little bit different, but it's something different to watch. And uh, there's so many options with the streaming services.
So what other kind of like, very quickly you think of any other TV series that people need to check out? You mentioned West Wing before, and that's
West Wing, and the reason I mentioned West Wing is because of the writer Aaron Sorkin, and also Newsroom. I mean, he's a
Newsroom,
really
yeah.
good writer.
Jeff
I mean,
Daniels was in that one, right?
yeah, that's a good movie. That's a good TV show, and and
Another Sorkin, right?
another Sorkin, yeah, he's a really good writer, and just that's what it needs. He's had to have the good start. I mean, the words. I mean, you can have a bunch of pretty actors on the screen just standing around looking at each other, but they need to have something to say, and makes you really appreciate the time that these writers put into it, and sometimes they're unsung heroes. What about yourself?
You mentioned good writing. Man, I can't remember if it's Sorkin or not, but it was one of the newer ones, Succession.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
Yeah, that was a good one. And then one to like turn your brain off. That's kind of like what you were talking about, how Seinfeld and 30 Rock is for you. That I can just sit there and put it on the second monitor and just have it play in the background.
right.
American Dad, which is a animated adult series.
Oh, that's a great one. I
Yeah,
mean, that's a great show. I
from
mean, it's
Seth
really good.
MacFarlane. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's got like
yeah,
18 or 20 seasons. I think it's on Hulu,
yeah, yeah. It's really good. It's really funny. And
dealing with family issues and,
right,
your
it's almost
liberal
it's
daughter and your nerdy
same,
son, the alien, your pot smoker stepson. I mean, just
right.
has all sorts of different characters and how they kind of like mesh with each other. It's
But
just
the Seth MacFarlane does Family Guy too, right?
uh Seth MacFarlane does American Dad. He did Family Guy. American Dad
Right.
came out second, but I think out of all Seth MacFarlane's cartoons, it's like American Dad was probably the best.
Yeah.
Family
It's
Guy, I think, several years ago, Family Guy is just ran out of ideas,
right.
It's just going because it's got a good fan base, just like The Simpsons. And it's got a good fan base. It just continues. Is the
Right.
quality
Yeah. It's
as
just
good
like,
as it was? Probably not.
oh no, not as good as it was, right? Yeah, because in the day that was groundbreaking. So it's been on like 35 years, The Simpsons.
Yeah, and I think it's still going. I think.
Yeah, just like holy smoke. I know that the actress, the voice actress, she's got TikTok
Yeah,
and she pops. It's crazy how much you know how they're able to get their money's worth out of it. It just I don't know.
but out of all of them, even The Simpsons, I haven't watched Simpsons in 10 or so years.
Oh no.
But American Dad, I think is the funniest out of them all. I appreciate that one. I've watched that series so many times over.
Right.
I could just have it going in the background and
I,
you could laugh every now and
when I get up out of my chair at work, I go, oop, oop, like Homer. That's where that sound effect came from. But yeah, those are groundbreaking cartoons. Still going. But
and you
there's so
mentioned
much
the shows from the Korea, Squid Game, had its
right.
second season come out, I think last month or earlier this month, last month. That's a show to actually check out. Really good, intriguing,
Right.
um, good character.
Yeah, there's so many options. You kind of forget yourself. And that like you said, that's what it's about is, putting in a hard day's work and coming home and just vegging out, just losing yourself. And I guess that's the good thing. Just don't forget about to take care of yourself. That's the thing. There's other people around you to, yeah, put your earbuds in. I don't want to hear the show. People on the bus at work, they got watching TV. It's like, can you put your earbuds in? I don't want to hear that.
Hold on, let
So,
me get on my phone and call someone and put it on speakerphone. All right.
oh, the time and a place to make a phone call. And on the bus with 50 other people, it's not the time. So,
Yeah,
so
so
that's
so
my,
many options, which is good. Like I said, if you can't find anything on a streaming service, then you're probably not really interested in watching anything at all.
right. One streaming services I found years ago, which is popular now, which is Pluto TV. There's a lot of stuff on there. I liked watching the trains in Norway, where they have the camera on the front of the train, just going through all these towns, and it's you talk about just forget yourself and just like, oh, this is really cool. But Pluto TV's got a lot of good content. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely. And all right, yeah. I mean, like I said, we can probably go on forever. I know
Right.
there's there's some strange ones that I would say you should watch, but these are you start getting into ones where it's like, man, I don't know if everyone would like that. It's got some weird stuff in there. you know. I'll throw it out there, but Dark. It was on Netflix. It had like 3, 4 seasons. And it was from these. I think they were Polish or Swedish. Middle European. All it was dubbed because it was on Netflix,
Right.
but very high concept, had like some very high concept sci-fi issues, but it was one of those where it's like it's character drama,
Right.
but
Oh,
you're
Dark.
dealing, yeah, dark, yeah,
Huh.
dealing with time travel and you know circle of life, where it's
Right.
like everything repeats itself, and you're dealing with characters that are in the past and the present, what they're doing in the future. It can get kind of
Oh,
like
interesting.
high concept confusing, but very interesting, and
Interesting. I'd look at it. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of this stuff, and that's one good thing about Netflix is, I mean, there is so much content. It's you're able to see stuff from around the world that normally you wouldn't be able to watch.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and makes you appreciate that the world of cinema, so to speak, from a global perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. So check out those titles. Maybe we'll do another one of these, after a while, and give you some more ideas.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think of these shows and what shows you enjoy. And that's about it. You can catch us on Spotify. iHeartRadio,
Apple,
Apple
and
Podcasts,
YouTube, right? We're on YouTube.
YouTube as well, on Let's
Yeah.
Talk channel. And
Yeah,
next
we
week,
need some
I don't know what we're going to talk
subscribers.
about next week. We'll have a movie for you.
All right.
We'll figure
David, yeah,
something
David will
out.
let us know what we're going to talk about. Send me the notes.
All
Hopefully I'll
right,
be able to
David.
watch it. All right, my friend. Have a good day.
Everyone have
I'll
a
get
good
back to
week.
my chair. Like, so. Bye.
Bye.